Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Well, welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union. Once again, I'm joined in studio by former All Black, former Hurricane, Piri Weepu. Welcome, Piri.
What an introduction.
Well, we can't go through all the teams, can we?
There wasn't that many.
Wainui. Was it Rochelle? La Rochelle? No.
Hey?
Just throwing other.
Anyway.
Well, I saw Ma'a at New World Miramar yesterday. Oh, Sunday, I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and...
Oh, he said he had to look after you in Japan, so he's just a bit tired.
That's an absolute lie. But
yeah,
he needs to slow down when he walks. Jesus, he's always on a mission. I was like, I can't keep up with you, bro. I'm just trying to cruise when I walk. Not
is he
bloody
a fast walker?
Yeah. Anyone would think that
he's in a race.
we're just going to do a bit of a hiko, go for a bit of a hiko, and all mates like almost running. I'm like, this is a hiko, or we're going for a trot. Anyway, how was your weekend?
Well, it was okay.
Yeah.
It was a big weekend racing-wise. Of course, it was the $20 million Everest over there at Royal Randwick. We had a meeting up at Ellerslie as well. Of course, we had the semi-finals of the NPC. And there was a bit of rugby league on it. Oh, and the White Ferns won the T20 World Cup after coming into the tournament with 10 straight losses. That's like a racehorse coming into the Cox Plate with a 0-0-0-0-0-0-0 and then getting up and winning. That was a huge performance by them. That was fantastic to see. And I think it's a good time to bring in our good friend Searle up there, the Big Smoke. Searle, what was your sporting highlight of the weekend?
Oh, to be honest, I think it has to be the White Ferns getting the result, right? Because their form leading into the competition wasn't great. I don't think anyone really gave them a chance. So the fact they were able to go over there and win the T20 World Cup is massive. I really enjoyed watching the Black Caps as well. So it was great to see New Zealand cricket have a successful weekend. Liam Lawson was unreal. And then the America's Cup too. So there was just so much to sink the teeth into. And it was cool because it wasn't your rugby or your league really that was taking all the headlines. Auckland FC, that was massive too. And I've never been a huge football fan, but all of a sudden I want to be there. I want to be in the port because, yeah, that looked like a great time as well.
So how did the big game go on the weekend?
It was actually pretty good. I played against my cousin. My cousin's actually got my godson's autistic, and so for my cousin to play and one of our other boys from Wainui who played on that side too, so it was good. Even though we tried to rough each other up on the at the bottom of rucks. And
did any politicians play?
I don't know. No, not the ones that I wanted to hit.
Not a big fan of politics.
Not the ones that I wanted to put a shoulder on. Yeah, but it was a good day. I'm not entirely sure how much money we fundraised, but for the occasion was awesome.
Good to hear. It was good. It was good weather too.
It was actually both days, Saturday and Sunday. We had the secondary schools, Wellington college sports nines tournament over the weekend, and on Saturday, and St Mary's won the under 15s. Silverstream won the under 15s boys, and then Wellington College won the seniors.
So your team?
Correct.
Nice. Congratulations.
First time they've won a league tournament. So considering I'm the one that's been pushing it for the last 3 years.
There you go. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, I guess we'll forgive you for being so late this morning, having come off a good result like that. So.
To be fair, I was limping in and limping to the car, getting out of the car, limping to get to here. So.
And Searle, what happened up your way last weekend?
Yeah, got out there on the golf course. I'm still on that quest to try and lower the handicap. The goal by the end of summer is to have it at single digits. Fair to say, making slight improvements. Still donated a few Pro V1s though, so it's proving to be an expensive start to the summer, but I have high hopes that we can get her below 10 by the end of it. I think that would be a massive result for me.
Back to the NPC, and it was semi-final time on the weekend. Both semi-finals played on Saturday, and the first one, Bay of Plenty and Canterbury. This was a very, very good game, and I actually thought Canterbury were very, very good for the upset here, and it looked like in that first half that could happen, but. Yeah, I'm guessing Richard Watt, Bay of Plenty Steamers coach, had a good old rant at half time, and that certainly turned the Steamers round. And in the end, they won a wee bit more comfortably than the final scoreline would suggest. A late try to Shea Fihaki sort of brought their teams a wee bit closer together. But Searle, your thoughts on that first semi-final between the Bop and Canterbury?
Yeah, it was a true game of two halves, wasn't it? Canterbury led at half-time through sheer grit, really. 13 points to 8 at Oranges. And I was a bit worried for Bay of Plenty there because quite often in finals football, it's really rare that we see a Canterbury side not finish off a game like that when they take in a lead into half-time. But, yeah, like you said, perhaps they got a bit of a half-time bollocking, and in the second half, Bay of Plenty really turned up the heat. And the talent they have in that backline led around the field really well by Caleb Trask, and then they've got Lucas Cashmore off the bench to help team up with him as a bit of a 1-2 punch late, and then Halaholo and Narawa in the centres, and the year that Leroy Carter's having out on the wing. To win the second half, 24 points to 7, was a massive result, and I think it was great too in front of a big sold-out crowd. It would have been really disappointing for Bay of Plenty to go down in that game. So I think now we get the final that a lot of mutual fans wanted. I said I'm on the Bay of Plenty bandwagon, so I was relieved to see them get the job done in this one.
Pity, there's a lot of experience in that Canterbury side, the likes of Joe Moody, Billy Harmon, Cullen Grace, Mitchell Drummond, Braden Enor, Dallas McLeod, Shafee. They had some very, very good players there. And usually when they've got a lead, head into the sheds at half time, it's very, very hard to peg them back. But that Bay of Plenty team completely outplayed Canterbury in the second half.
Yeah, they've been actually playing some outstanding footy all campaign, Bay of Plenty. So, for them to actually have a slow start and then finally, obviously after half time, get a bit of a rocket from Waddy. I'm pretty sure that the boys would have woke up from that and understood that if they stuck to their structures and the way that they've been playing throughout the season, they'll pretty much be on top. But yeah, you look at the Canterbury of old. They've always sort of finished the job at half time if they get a good start. They're pretty much hard to sort of catch up and then I guess take the lead. But I think that they probably backed themselves in that second half after getting a bit of a rev up from Waddy. And then obviously proved that that was the biggest thing for them in the second half, coming away with it.
Right, let's have a look at the second semi-final. And, of course, that was down here on Saturday night between Wellington and Waikato. Look, Waikato, they took the game to Wellington. They looked very, very good. But in the end, Wellington came out on top, and there was I think a critical point in the game where Wellington won a penalty at around the 65-minute mark, and it was in kickable range, and it was towards the middle of the field, and they decided to kick for touch. In the end, it was the right decision. They picked up a try, and it gave them, because the penalty would have given them an 8-point buffer over Waikato. They decided not to take it, kick for touch. They ended up with a try, and it gave them that extra buffer because Waikato went on and scored a try later on in the game, which, if they had taken the penalty originally, would have meant that Waikato would have been only 1 point behind. And with Cruden on the field, well, he can kick him over from just about anywhere if you're in that side of the 50-metre mark. So, Searle, if you look at that game, were you happy with the tactics that Wellington took?
Yeah, I was. I thought this game was pretty similar to the first semi-final in many aspects. It was a really tight first half, and then Wellington dominated the second half in what was a pretty physical and intense game. I thought Wellington got some great dominance through the middle of the paddock in the second half. Some young forwards in that side have really put their hands up this year. They're a physical bunch. They're not afraid of the confrontation areas. And then I thought Duplessis Kirifi really came into his own as well. He was outstanding. Some of his turnovers, some of his hits, and just the timing of them as well. He seems to come up with the big plays, the big momentum switches and key moments where his side really needs him. So, yeah, I thought his work rate was outstanding as well. I did want to shout out to Ollie Mathers. That bloke is a freak, man, and I'm convinced he could be an elite winger. Basically, every forward reckons they could be a winger. I've never seen it done properly, really. This bloke is the one that could pull it off. I know he's a 7. I'm not sure he'll wear the 7 jersey again unless he switches across to rugby 7s, because I think his skill set would be really good there as well. But he's still only 19, first year out of school, came into the comp as the best high school rugby player last year. And yeah, he's been crazy. His skill set, just the way he finishes tries as well. He looks every bit a genuine winger, which is pretty unreal.
He has a rugby mind ahead of his young age. And I guess if we were talking cricket, he would be your all-rounder. He would be opening the batting, and he would probably open the bowling as well. That just his range of skills is so good, and he adapts to wherever they put him on the field very, very quickly. And it looks like you'd say that he'd been playing winger all his life. Just the last couple of games that he's played, he looks so good. So in terms of Waikato, they had some very, very good performances. If you have a look at the halves combo with Xavier Rowe and Aaron Cruden, that is a very, very good combination. And you can understand why they were so good. Quinton Tupaia, of course. If you look at that Waikato team, that's a very, very good team to knock over in a semi-final, Piri.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that, they've had a few games that didn't go their way. They didn't play well, but sort of the back end of the season is when they started hitting their straps. And I think Wellington making that decision to kick to the corner, they probably knew that Waikato weren't going to, lie down. They were actually going to fight to get themselves back into the game, and it proved, that decision in the 65th minute to go to the corner was a huge one. But yeah, Waikato, I mean, across the board, they've got quality players, and they've got a pretty good general that can get them down the right end of the field. Watching Crude's kicking game, he's still bloody slotting at 60 metres down the bloody field. Anyone would think that he was still a young buck, the way that he's sort of driving the team down the right end of the field. So, yeah, I mean, that for them to make it to the semi-finals is huge in itself, considering some people probably would have ripped them off with some of their performances.
Okay, both teams were affected by All Black and All Black 15 commitments. But if you have a look at both, there's still a good, solid, backbone of experienced players in both teams. There's Xavier Numia, Lenny Apisai, Duplessis Kirifi, Brad Shield. What a guy to be able to have in the team when you lose someone like a Peter Larkai or a Caleb Delaney. They shift to the side of the scrum. In terms of Waikato, Balin Sullivan, Quinta Tupaia. And that's mixed in with a wee bit of sort of younger inexperience. It's a very, very good, system, I think, to be able to bring your younger, less experienced players through Searle and mix them up with those guys who have been there quite a few years and who have played for representative teams as well.
Yeah, this for me is what the NPC is all about, right? We see it as that bridge between club rugby and super rugby, and I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of these young guys who've really put their hands up at club level to see if they can make that next step into that professional environment. And if you're a young guy coming through and you get to rub shoulders with the likes of your Brad Shields, your Duplessis Kirifis, just being a part of that environment can only be great for your game. So yeah, things like this is exactly what I think the NPC stands to do. It's that next stepping stone so that guys can push their claim to make their way into Super Rugby squads. And I think it's just a testament to the depth that Wellington and some of these teams have in their squads as well. You need deep squads in order to go through the season. You never know, you're going to be hit with injuries, All Black selections, all that type of thing. So the deeper the squad, the stronger your talent pool is. I think that's the further you'll progress.
Shout out to Callum Harkin, who stepped up in a high pressure situation and didn't really look like he didn't belong there. He looked like he slotted in very, very nicely. Certainly, with it being a completely new halves combo than the one that they had in the quarterfinal. Kyle Preston and I thought Callum Harkin were very, very good for Wellington. Why don't we head to Piri now and just see what we can get in terms of a Wainui whisper? I'm sure there's something happening over there, about to happen. Piri, what's going on?
About to happen.
Yeah, yeah. What's going on in Wainui?
No, but I do know that Wellington could potentially be out of hookers.
Jeepers.
Kwasa failed his HIA. And Lenny Apisai rolled his ankle at the start of the game and had to bite down on the gum shield to last for as long as he did, and then had to go back on there. And so there's potential that, old mate from Carpety could potentially coming back down to well, would you rather have a club player that hasn't played at a high level be under pressure but will enjoy the opportunity? Or would you have someone that's experienced enough to come in, be here for a week, slot into the role of a hooker? Probably wouldn't miss a beat, to be honest.
Has he been in the environment?
No, I think he was in the environment at the start, helping out with the throwing.
Oh, he'll be good to go, mate. He'll be good to go.
Wow. Finally, we got a proper whisper. I love this sort of stuff.
It's not a whisper. You just watch what happened on Saturday, and the two hookers are struggling.
Yeah, there's also some chat that Peter Umaga Jensen and Jackson Garden Bishop are good to go as well. So two massive ins there for Welly if that's the case.
Oh, I'd love to see his battle with Arkoi. I reckon those two would they'd get close to having a go. Oh, jeez.
Both old boys of Wellington College, those two. I don't know if they want to punch.
I think they were at different years, though.
They were.
A few different years. Oh, beautiful. Oh, good. Wow. Why don't we get on to this weekend then and the big game between Wellington and Bay of Plenty. A nice afternoon kickoff, 2:35 down here at the Tinny House. Wellington currently $1.47, Bay of Plenty $2.50. The bookies have Wellington as 5.5 point favourites, and the game total is set at 52.5. And as we record this on a Tuesday morning, the sides haven't been named, so although we seem to be forming a wee bit of a Wellington side already ourselves, without knowing who's going to be lining up for both teams. Searle, who sort of, can you lean one way or the other, or have the bookies sort of got this pretty much where they should be?
Yeah, I think the home ground advantage is going to be massive for Welly this week. Hopefully some fans can get along and pack it out because I'm still seeing a fair few seats. So all you fans of the Tinny House, get along. Hopefully Piri and Paulie, you'll be there as well too. But I expect this game to go right down to the wire. I think it's two really physical and strong forward packs going at it. And then the backlines, there's some massive matchups there too. I'm looking forward to the battles between your Trasks and your Garden Bishops, Holo Holo up against Riley Higgins. There's some mouth-watering stuff. These are two quality teams we saw in their game during the year as well. Went right down to the wire. So I don't expect there to be much between these two, and it could just be that home ground advantage that gets Welly across the line, although I'll be cheering for Bay of Plenty for sure.
Piri, will someone have to escort the Bay of Plenty coach so that he doesn't walk into the home team changing rooms? Is there a possibility that could happen?
Maybe after
the
game, I'm pretty sure Waddy will know which direction to go to or which changing room to go to. So won't have to worry about anyone seeing the wrong person in the shed.
When you look at that Bay of Plenty team, and of course we don't know exactly who's lining up, they'll provide Wellington with a stern test. And I agree with, and in fact, I think I may later on in the program take a bet that I think Searle took last week. I think it's a great bet this week, and I think he took either team to win by under 7.5. I think that's a great little bet again this week once the bookies get all their markets out. But can you make a case for Bay of Plenty getting up and winning this? Of course, they haven't won this since 1976. I think that was the very first NPC ever. 1976, Bay of Plenty won. Long time between drinks. They have not won it since.
Yeah, I think, well, if we look at the round robin, I think there was a pretty close encounter as well.
Went to extra time.
Yeah. Wellington only just won there. And so maybe the odds should be a bit tighter than what I was expecting with Bay of Plenty, the top two teams in the competition, pushing through. But they've got strike power across their whole playing field from 1 to 15. And so, Wellington needs to make sure that they've got the right, well, our pack's pretty solid. But it's just whether we can contain and weather the storm and get off to a good start, which allows the Lions to build that confidence that they have. And obviously we talked about Jackson potentially coming back and being the conductor that he is, playing down the right end of the field. And I guess just making sure that when they do run through their structures and things like that the boys are on song. So it's going to be a pretty good encounter. I would have thought the odds would have been a bit tighter, but I would have thought that Bay of Plenty would have been at least $1 something.
Righty-ho. I think we'll leave the NPC there, and I'm pretty sure that we'll be filtering in a number of NPC options for our betting later on at the end of the podcast. But there's another thing that's going on. The All Blacks are heading overseas. They're taking on the Japanese, and the bookies have already opened up a market there, and I'm just trying to track it down now. The All Blacks are very, very short. I think they're around $1.02.
Yeah. And Japan $12.
$12. So there's not a lot of action there, but All Blacks are 30.5 point favourites, and the game total set at 63.5. So I guess, first of all, on initial, observations, Searle, 30.5. Can the All Blacks cover that quite easily, or are we not giving the Japanese enough respect here?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because for me, I think it all comes down to the selections and how much rotation we see from Razor's squad. If we see a fairly settled team with a lot of those All Black 15 guys that have been called in coming in off the bench, then I think that line is pretty fair. But if we see some pretty drastic changes, 5 or 6 guys getting an opportunity, then I think Japan will like their chances to keep it pretty close. 30.5 is a massive line, especially in international rugby, and saying that Japan's form lately hasn't been great. They got towed up by Fiji. The bet the likes of Samoa and co in the lead up to that, but I think Fiji has been their biggest quality opposition, and they put 41 or so on them. So I do expect the All Blacks to win. For me, it all comes down to selection and just how settled of a team we roll out. If it's close to our top side with a lot of those regular guys in the starting 15, then I do think we're a chance. But yeah, 30.5. I think Japan will like their chances at covering that.
But if you have a look at the last game between the All Blacks and Japan, that was back in 2022. That was part of the Northern Tour once again. All Blacks won 38-31. Very, very tight. However, the 3 previous matchups between the All Blacks and Japan. 69-31, 54-6, and 83-7. That 83-7, of course, was at the 2011 World Cup. That game played at Waikato Stadium. So it's very hard, I guess. And as Searle says, until we know the teams, the makeup of the All Blacks, it's hard to, I guess, make a definitive decision as to whether that 30.5 is too much or if it's not enough.
It's a tough one because if we think about the coaching that the head coach at the moment,
I hope we smoke them.
Yeah. So it's just like since then we just want to make sure we go over there and smash them. But the last time that we had the encounter, I mean, they were a totally different squad, and they were the style of play that they had actually suited the squad that they had at the time. So it'll be an interesting one. I know the boys should get up for this one. Definitely, even if there is quite a few debutantes that are going to be involved. It'll be a great occasion to be involved in. Can see, obviously, with all the socials that they're sort of immersing themselves in the culture over there. And I mean, I was only there a couple of weeks ago, and it's bloody hot. So we haven't had that much sun here, and so they'll have to obviously acclimatise to that and the heat wave over there. But I'm pretty sure if they can get their structures right, especially with the boys that are going to be filling in into this game, hopefully they can get the job done and take that 30 points back.
That heat, is it humid? Is it a humid heat?
Yep, because the sun wasn't up properly and walking down the street
Sweating?
Oh yeah.
Trying
Just
to
walking to the train station, which is about 200 meters away. I need a fan.
Trying to keep up with Mark.
Yeah, exactly. I had to run after him, bloody hell.
I'm just having a look at the All Black team that played in that 2022 Test match against the Japanese, and there's a few players that are no longer available for the All Blacks. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck played second 5'8". Who else? Brodie Retallick played lock. He scored a try. Richie Mwanga played first 5'8". Braden Enor was in the centre. Sevu Reese, Caleb Clark. Stephen Perofeta played fullback. Hoskins Sasutu, number 8. Shannon Frizzell was blindside flanker. So there was quite a bit of experience in that All Black team that took on the Japanese back in 2022 and only won by 7 points in the end. Does that mean that 30.5 just looks just a wee bit too much? I can understand it being 30.5 during a World Cup when the All Blacks are going to be going absolutely crazy. But this sort of game, when they're looking ahead towards the UK part of the tour, and of course there are a number of players who are going straight to the UK, Searle. Is there a chance that the All Blacks might just maybe have their eyes looking ahead a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think in years gone past, in the game like this, perhaps we might have looked ahead. But I think with the recent results in the Rugby Championship in particular, probably not going to how Razor would have liked, I think he's targeting a clean sweep or as close to on this tour. And he'll be really keen to make a statement in a game like this, because this is one of those games where Japan, they kind of have no expectations. Everyone's expecting the All Blacks to put a big score on. And if they don't, people won't be happy with the performance. So I think Razor will still, while he might play a few fringe players, he'll still be getting the lads up for this one, and it'll still be of big importance for him. He'll want to kick off the tour in the winning ways and really set the tone for the rest of it. I think if we'd gone the clean sweep in the Rugby Championship, then maybe. But yeah, I still think this game will mean a fair bit to him.
Piri, what do you want to see out of this All Black team against the Japanese? Do you want to see a big score run up? Do you want to see them create a few combinations? Do you want to see some of the players that will probably be on the bench from the All Black 15. Do you want to see them get a go as well?
I just want them to get their game structure right, really. Have a bit of, I wouldn't say razzle, but have a few tricks up their sleeve. I think if we look back at the game against the Springboks, we didn't actually have anything that was sort of deceptive and pulling defenders. We created opportunities, but we weren't able to create that consistently for 80 minutes, whereas after losing the first test, I would have thought that we would have changed a few things with our pod shape and things like that. If you had a look at Ireland, when Ireland played them, they had something different hidden up their sleeve that they were able to execute under a lot of pressure too. So what I'm hoping is that they've actually learnt from I guess the championship and actually looking to change things or even try things a bit more.
Righty ho, Searle. Because of how the rugby championship went, and it wasn't it wasn't the result that All Black fans wanted. I guess it places quite a wee bit more importance on this Northern Tour and indeed the results that they get out of the Northern Tour. So if you look to this Japanese test and then the test matches afterwards, who do you think will be under the most pressure to, I guess, put on a good performance to solidify or to keep their place in the team? And I'm looking at one forward and one back from both of you. So if you look at, how about the forward first? Which, if you had a look and you say, this guy needs to really play well, otherwise he may miss out on the All Blacks next season.
Yeah, can it be an ex-forward? Because I think Razor's under a fair bit of the pump. Like I mentioned before, I don't think the year's quite started how he would have wanted to. And I've even got a few mates telling me to bring Fozzie back, which is pretty drastic. But I think in terms of the playing group, I went with Dalton Papali'i, and that's purely off the back of injuries. I feel like this injury for him has possibly come at the worst time. His form in Super Rugby is always elite, and for so long, everyone's been expecting him to take that next step up and really push his claim to wear that starting All Blacks number 7 jersey, and I don't think he's quite been able to do that. Now he's got the pressure of a young Peter Lakai coming up through the ranks and potentially getting an opportunity as well. With Sam Cane moving on at the end of the year, I think the time is now for him to really stake his claim. So hopefully he can get back out onto the paddock quick and put in a few big performances, because that 7 jersey is there for the taking. And I think Dalton's form at Super Rugby level has been outstanding. He certainly deserves to wear that jersey. It just quite hasn't 100% crossed over. He's been missing out on bench selections as of late as well to guys like Luke Jacobson. So I think there's a lot of pressure for him to perform. There's even potential that an Artie could play 7, Wallace at 8. So the All Blacks have options there, and I think Dalton will want a big tour to put his hand up and say that he deserves to wear the 7 jersey.
For you, Piri, you are sort of thinking similar to Searle there, Dalton Papali'i. I mean, the number 7 jersey opens up with Sam Cane moving on after this. So he seems to be the first cab off the rank, but this injury couldn't have come at a worse time for him. It opens up the door for others like Peter Lakai. Do they move Adi Severe to the 7 and thereby bring in Satiti in the number 8 jersey? Or are you looking at a different player in the forward pack that could be under pressure this tour?
No. Probably, yeah. I'd probably say Dalton as well. Searle's obviously said quite a bit around him. Like, his Super Rugby was outstanding and then hasn't quite fired a shot yet at the international level. So I think there might be definitely a bit of pressure put on him to sort of try and cement this opportunity to tell everyone that I'm your number 1 man for this role as a 7. So I'd probably, mine will be Dalton too.
Okay. Let's head to the backline.
Ooh.
And which player do you think is under most pressure there? Are we thinking a D-Mac, or are you looking somewhere else, Searle?
Yeah, D-Mac will certainly have a bit of pressure piling on him, but I actually went with a player in a similar position to Dalton in terms of Mark Talia, who I think is in a hotly contested spot at the moment. And with guys like AJ Lamb, Riley Higgins, those utility midfield wingers that are also on that All Blacks 15 tour, and then some specialists like a Kini Naholo, who plays a similar game style to him, high work rate, high involvement, a real tackle buster. I think Mark will be really keen to find that form from 2023, which saw him be one of the first wingers written down on the team sheet. Now he's struggling to make the 23 each week. So I think he needs a massive tour and needs to make the most of the opportunities that he gets, because he might only get 2 or 3 chances throughout these games to stake his claim. And we all know how damaging he can be. So I think he'll be really keen for a big tour as well.
Piri, Searle's right. There's a whole heap of competition in the wing spot. But in terms of the 10 jersey, with that looming Richie Mo'unga coming to come back, that really ramps up the pressure on D-Mac to, I guess, either cement that number 10 jersey or, I guess, cement the 22 jersey, which he has done that before and looked very, very good too.
Yeah, well, D-Mac was definitely one of the ones that I was thinking of. And then, yeah, obviously come off the bench and was outstanding, brought a bit more razzle and the confidence that we've seen in him when he does play footy. My other one was going to be Rico. I think he's under a bit of... This is probably an opportunity for him to actually step up and tell everyone that he's the man for the job.
For the 13?
For the 13 role. I think a lot of people are sort of doubting him and his position. Obviously, we don't hear his name as much as we usually do, especially at the international level. But this will be a huge tour for him in terms of cementing his opportunity at centre. Because I know that there's quite a few boys that are on the fringe of being selected in the 22 or 23, but that are nipping at his heels in that role. Anton Leonard-Brown's done pretty well, and he's covered both sort of 12 and 13, and he looked pretty sharp when he got his opportunity at centre. But I mean, if Rico wants to actually put a nail in the coffin, this is his chance for the India tour.
Yep, it'll be very interesting to see just how things progress over this Northern Tour, and whether these players, sometimes the pressure can create a diamond and they stand up and they shine and they were a sensation and they lock that position down. Other times it can go the other way. So, it just makes this Northern Tour just a wee bit more interesting. Outside of the actual game results, it's more about how the team sort of progresses, and how individuals inside that system progress. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to all of the test matches to come up over the next month or so. It's hunch time. We'll go to you first then, Searle.
Yeah, I guess it's not so much a hunch, but a bit of a prediction that I think the real DC, Dane Coles, will trot out there on the final on Saturday Arvo. A bit of a homecoming for him back at the old Tinny house, and I think he will lace up the boots and look to get that fairy tale finish. He'll answer the SOS. We've had Tom Brady in the NFL. We've had Sean Johnson in the rugby league. So now I think it's Dane Coles' turn in the rugby. So I think he's going to come in full of fizz, a spirited performance, see Wellington get a half-time lead. But then I think it's going to become a nightmare. The fairy tale's going to flip quickly. Bay of Plenty get the win at the end. Wellington half-time, Bay of Plenty full-time. That's my hunch there, Paulie.
Piri, you got a hunch for this weekend?
No, I don't.
I've got one. Okay.
I don't.
I'll throw one out there. watching telly last night, and then there was a whir of a noise outside. What is going on? So I had to go out there. There were these two cats having a scrap outside and I went down there, and the ginger one lost. So
Finlay Christie's not playing, is he?
Well, he's not, but I'm taking from that. My hunch is the team with the least amount of gingers in their squad is the team that will win the NPC final. So I can't tell you how many gingers are in the Wellington squad, and I can't tell you how many are in the Pop squad. But if you do your research, you find out which team has the least amount of gingers. I think that's the team that's going to win the NPC final. That's my hunch.
Shit, Paulie, I think that's your best one yet, mate. But you've also just offended a whole section of the New Zealand population, mate. You got to be careful with these.
This is the hunch for what happened.
What happens if you can't see their ginger hair?
Oh, if they're strawberry blonde.
Mm.
Oh, if they're camouflaging.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wearing headgear.
You've got to dive deeper. You've got to go back. Really do your research. But I'm fairly sure the team with the least amount of gingers will win the NPC final this weekend. So that's my hunch.
Does it like, so if they've got an orange headgear, does that count as ginger too? Because I mean, this is where you're going. I mean, you got to be specific, not just the hair. Might be other things that are involved.
The orange headgear.
Orange boots.
I'm yet to see anyone with orange headgear.
You're basically calling them losers.
Well, now we're talking about the. Oh, no, never mind.
See?
Stop. You've gone too far again.
Just wanted to throw you out because you're bloody putting heaps of pressure on bloody gingers.
I can't wait for the ringers to fire up, mate.
Rightio. Okay. Well, that's my hunch. I'm sticking with it. Let's have a look at how we went with the punting last week.
Yep.
Piri, you had Canterbury to win by 13 or more into Wellington to win by 13 or more. Nah. And then you had Peter Larkai to score a try and Eklund to score a try.
No.
So you are now $105.
You didn't need to tell me how much I've learnt the first week. Last week I didn't need to.
You're now $105.60 positive. So that's a positive.
Wait for it, Searle. Wait for it. There's something coming.
Now, Searle.
Is there any reason why he brings the money value in here?
Yeah, it's because I'm negative and he's way ahead. Yeah.
You had 3 bets.
Thanks.
Either team to win by 7.5, under 7.5 in the Bay of Plenty Canterbury clash, into Wellington to win. Well, you got the Wellington win. Canterbury to win by 1-12, no good there. Nope. And then you had Riley Higgins into Eklund, both to score a try, no good there. Searle is now minus 339.
Wait for it.
Okay, I had 2 bets last week. I had Canterbury 1-12 into Wellington 1-12, no good. And then the other one I had was Waikato to lead at halftime, Wellington to win at $6.50. That one did come in. And I'm now up $714.37.
Wow.
So what?
Well, I'm happy because that means that
clearly, because as soon as you started saying, Piri, your bets didn't work, so you're now at $100 and something. So if you have money value.
Can I have a line?
Well, why don't we go to you, Searle? Where are you going to have your $100 this week across either the NPC or the test match between the Japanese and the All Blacks?
Yes, I've got 2 bets here this week. The saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it's broke, but I'm going to run it back anyway. I'm not going to try fix it. Same as last week, either team to win within 7.5 for the final, paying $2.50. I'm going to chuck $50 on that. And then obviously team isn't named yet, but I'm hoping Roygaard and Talia are both in there. So I'll back them in as try scorers and the All Blacks to win as well for a little same game multi there, and I'll chuck my other 50 on that as well.
holy moly, just as you speak, there's been a change in the odds in that NPC final. So obviously the bookies must be listening, and they've found out that Wellington has more gingers than Bay of Plenty, because Wellington are now $1.52. Bay of Plenty are now into $2.40, and Wellington are only 4.5 point favourites now, as opposed to the 5.5 when we started this podcast. So, yeah, there's been a move in the game. Piri, your $100?
I'm going to go with, for the Japanese game, the ABs to win by, was it between 41 and 50 margin? And I think they're paying $4.50 on that. You're trying to figure it.
No, I'm trying to find it. Right. What did you say between, where's the margins? That one. This one?
Yep.
All Blacks 21 to 30 or 31 to 40?
41 to 50.
Oh, 41 to 50. That's paying $4.50.
Yeah, I'll put 25 on that. And then for the final, I'm going to go with, there's not even paying that much. I need to figure out how I can stump you. Wellington with the winning margin between 31 and 40. I'll put 25 on that.
Whoa! What?
I'm just trying to win this bloody thing from you.
That's paying $16.
Yeah, I know. And then I'm going to do...
How much do you have on that?
25.
25. Holy moly. You're trying to get it all in one go.
I'm trying. And then I'll just 50 on Wellington. Oh, no, actually, I won't do that. I'll do 50 for anytime try in the game with Riley and Preston to score a try.
Preston and Riley both to score a try in the final.
Mm-hmm.
50 on that?
Yep.
And that's it.
That's it.
Okay, one bet for me, the whole $100. No need to go too silly. I'm going to go either team to win by under 7.5 in the NPC final. That's paying $2.45. And I'm going to multi that into the All Blacks minus 30.5. All 100 on there. Easy peasy done. Well, I'm hoping it's easy. I think we've got it. We've done it. And I don't think we went off on too many tangents this week, so I'm really happy about that. We've sort of sorted that out.
Sort of.
Don't forget there's the Oval Ball Mega Multi promotion. And I'm just having a look. I think there was a promotion on the NPC final. Let me just double check that because I don't want to put you guys wrong. Well, it sort of said there was. Yeah, there's some sort of promotion on that NPC final. I think.
Huge.
Well, what you have to do is always check your promotions page on the TAB app or at tab.co.nz, because that's where you'll find out exactly what promotions are on. But I'm pretty sure there will be one on the NPC final. Good luck if you do have a go with your investments. Don't forget, bet responsibly, R18. Piri, what are you up to this weekend?
Not a lot. Watch a bit of code, and then we've got the college sports sevens on Monday. So I'll be running around after the boys with sevens for under 15s and our seniors on Monday.
Where's that?
At Nino College.
Oh, nice. Good luck there.
Yeah. Thanks, we'll need it.
Yep.
They've got me coaching them for sevens. I never coach sevens and just play.
Hey, you just won the nine. You're in winning form.
Oh, doubt it. That's why you get someone that knows how to coach sevens. Tomasi Palu. Thank you, my bro.
Searle, I'll get the feeling you'll be heading down south this weekend.
Yeah, heading down to Christchurch on Sunday for that Kiwis game. Ready to see a big upset. The Kiwis are going to go the big lift up against the Kangaroos. So looking forward to getting down to Christchurch for that one. Obviously the return of SJ, so the stage is set, and hopefully a repeat of that 30-0 drubbing from last weekend, or from last year, sorry.
I hope they do well. SJ comes back to the rescue. The knight in shining armour to help out the Kiwis. I guess his way to say farewell to rugby league. Playing rugby league. I'm sure he will have some sort of position, if not in coaching or administration. He seems ideal for broadcasting. So I'd be surprised if nobody picks him up, because he talks very, very well. He's got a great rugby league mind. And of course, he's had a huge, huge career. So I look forward to seeing what happens with Sean Johnson in the near future. Righty-ho.
What are you up to this weekend?
It's a quiet one. Yeah. I might head down to the Tinny House for the final on Saturday afternoon. I quite like the sound of that. 2:35.
You just going to a tinny house?
And that's it from us. Pick and go. Thanks for listening once again. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Pick and Go.